Two Blue Vortex just set up a betrayal that could change everything. Whilst Boruto is out here cutting down enemies to protect the world, Kashin Koji attempts to force an assassination of the daimyo's representative inside the very own Leaf Village. And if that plan succeeds, it would make our MC look like an even bigger threat, causing a civil war. On top of that, Sarada is literally going blind from using her Mangekyō Sharingan. Mamushi has multiplied past 200 clones and the village is spiraling into chaos. So at this point, there's only one desperate solution left, so stick around. Two Blue Vortex Chapter 31 begins with Inojin being seconds away from becoming a murderer. Koji orders him to drop the mind transfer jutsu and let Kubo fend for himself against the swarm of Mamushi. They need this guy dead because he wants to strip Shikamaru of being Hokage and declare war against Boruto, which of course would make the worst possible future occur. But Inojin refuses to cross that line and let a civilian die. Koji then tries to manipulate him that if Hobu is killed due to the mind transfer jutsu, well, Inojin would be cooked as well, forfeiting his life. However, in that moment, Mamushi charges forward for the kill, but Inojin instinctively dodges. This time, Koji's manipulation doesn't work and is told to shut up. Inojin argues that if he can't protect someone in a situation like this, then being a shinobi means nothing. He's rejecting Koji's entire worldview because to Koji, being a shinobi is about securing the future at any cost. If eliminating one person, an old head that is stupid and stubborn, that prevents the whole world from blowing up, well, the math makes sense. And he isn't wrong because Koji sees people as pieces in a larger equation due to his shinjutsu to see all possible future. He's always wanting to create a better one no matter the sacrifice. However, the writing is highlighting how the generation Naruto helped create, they're actually built different. Inojin thinks that if he allows a civilian to die just because it's convenient for a better strategy, then what separates him from the very enemies that they're fighting? This all ties into cooking something special that we're going to eat. Boruto is setting up something huge with the Koji situation because this isn't just the first disagreement. It's happened multiple times at this point. Even Naruto sensed something familiar in Koji, noting that he felt like Jiraiya, which makes sense given Koji's origin of being a clone. But where Jiraiya believed in Ninshu, the idea that shinobi connect through understanding and empathy, Koji has drifted towards viewing ninja as tools to engineer outcomes. But we know Boruto grew up hearing about Jiraiya. He saw firsthand through the time travel arc how much he meant to his father Naruto, and he also understands the kind of influence Jiraiya had on the world. So when Boruto eventually finds out that Koji was created by Amado as a clone, he's going to crash out and has to make a choice. Is Koji just being realistic against god level threats where tough decisions have to be made? Or can Boruto prove to him that abandoning shinobi values Naruto fought to protect is actually correct? After all, so far, he has. Our MC is a singularity that can change the future, and everything he has done so far, like helping save Konohamaru's life, well, it actually worked out. But stick around till the end to find out how things go wrong this time round. Because in chapter 31, the situation is scary. Inojin is no longer communicating to everyone, and the Senrogan is out of commission because Mamushi can locate Ada if it's active due to his ability. On top of that, Inojin's transmission of the map tracking clones is inactive, meaning the gang has lost track of them all. That's where Sarada finally steps in to farm some aura. They are observing a Mamushi horde that's starting to destabilize. Since Ada isn't using the Senrogan, Mamushi can't track her, and without that information to guide him, the clones start losing coordination. One begins questioning whether Ada is even still in Konoha. whilst another tries to calm him down and tells him to stay focused. But everything snaps. They start beating each other's ass. We see firsthand how less intelligent they become due to cloning too much as they kill each other and start rioting like a mob. However, the moment civilians are involved, Sarada steps in like a true Hokage. With her Mangekyō Sharingan or Hirume, every Mamushi she is able to set her eyes on starts levitating. She summons miniature black hole spheres, which disrupts their gravitation by pulling them towards it. Or Hirume's gravity only affects the body of those she has spotted with her eyes, meaning anyone outside of that range will not be affected. But Delta kills them using her laser eyes and modified body, you know, whilst having fun. I mean, look at the smile on her face. She enjoys violence so much, so no wonder Amada said, yeah, you know what, this ain't my daughter. The soul essence can't be replicated. I don't remember my daughter being like this, you know what I'm saying? But eventually, we see Sarada's kill count of clones rise to 13. She's almost caught up to Boruto and Kawaki in a single moment, proving yet again how busted her Mangekyō Sharingan is. This intense compression squeezes their body from all sides simultaneously, and when the pressure becomes too great for their physical structure to withstand, they explode into atoms. Both times she has used this power, Sasuke level opponents lose instantly. So no wonder Sasuke said Sarada's Mangekyō would be the key to saving the world and is actually the most powerful of their clan. However, with great power comes a great burden, as using the Mangekyō leaves her eyes going blind. Sarada's blurred vision is actually consistent with the established drawback of the Mangekyō Sharingan. Now in the Naruto series, overusing its abilities gradually damage your eyesight, eventually leading to permanent blindness if the strain continues. Now Sasuke is the clearest example of this. After awakening his Mangekyō, he repeatedly used Amaterasu and Susanoo during the 5 Kage Summit arc, and his vision deteriorated rapidly over the course of those battles. But by the time he fought Danzo, his sight was heavily impaired, and shortly after he was nearly completely blind, which is why he transplanted Itachi's eyes to obtain the eternal Mangekyō Sharingan. So Sarada risks going blind, and it all makes sense since different Mangekyō abilities strain their eyes differently. Another example is Shisui's Koto Amatsukami, as it was stated to require around a decade to recharge per eye, showing that not all Mangekyō techniques operate under the same limits. But wait a second, Sarada doesn't have another pair of Mangekyō to solve this issue, so what happens, ABD? Well, one obvious solution is her mother Sakura stepping in. Sakura mastered the strength of 100 seal, which stores massive amounts of chakra over time in a seal. And once released, that stored chakra enhances physical ability and also gives you automatic cellular regeneration without the user needing to consciously activate medical ninjutsu every second. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Mangekyō blindness is caused by ocular strain and chakra exhaustion. If Sarada had access to a reserve of pre-stored chakra like the seal, she could theoretically reduce the immediate strain placed on her optic nerves when activating Ohirume. And if the seal's regenerative properties are active, it could potentially repair micro damage to her eyes. However, another possible route is Orochimaru. He has already experimented with cellular modification, Hashirama cells, and artificial body enhancement. He can engineer a way to stabilize Mangekyō strain through genetic reinforcement. Orochimaru's involvement with Sarada has already been set up in the story. First, during discussions about the Karma Seal research in the original manga, Orochimaru's name comes up as someone who understands it, and he compared it to Sakura's jutsu. Second is the trading card parallel. Boruto received a Minato card, Kawaki received a Naruto one, and Sarada received Orochimaru. At the time, it just looked like a fun collectible moment, but in hindsight, those pairings actually reflect their future path. Boruto inheriting Minato's card, it makes sense sense because he's a prodigy that gained flying Raijin and is a tactical genius like Sasuke said. So why did Sarada receive Orochimaru? Because, well, we've already seen what he can do through Shin Uchiha. He was one of Orochimaru's former test subjects, and through experimentation, Orochimaru modified his body to accept transplanted Sharingan tissue without rejection. Shin had a unique compatibility trait that allowed foreign DNA and organs to integrate seamlessly into his body. That's why he could implant multiple Sharingan across his body and keep them active without the typical drawbacks that non-Uchiha would suffer. Shin eventually awakened Mangekyō in his transplanted eyes, and unlike traditional Uchiha who gradually lose their vision from overuse, he was able to maintain his without losing his vision. Sakura knows about this because she directly fought Shin and helped him in the experiments during the events of Naruto Gaiden. She saw firsthand how his body and eyes function, and that will help them later on, where Sarada will go to her mother for a solution that she's going blind once she finds out. But now, we go back to Inojin. Koji forcefully dispelled his jutsu to break him away from mind transfer. He doesn't even have time to argue as he must reactivate his formation transmission so everyone can once again be connected. Shikamaru then convinces Sai by reminding him that in an emergency, their duty as shinobi comes before their roles as parents, and that protecting the village must be their top priority. Once he reveals that Mamushi's true target is Ada and that the situation is bigger than this stupid interrogation, Sai understands the urgency and chooses to side with Shikamaru. Inojin then tells the Hokage to hurry to the rooftop and save Kobu because, you know, he's about to die. Well, it's too late. He's literally getting cooked. But you never doubt my goat Boruto, because just like we predicted, he jumps right in time, slicing the Mamushis as though they were butter, and then he activates his Karma Seal to negate the fire jutsu. The amount of aura he displays is ridiculous, but nothing is ever happy ever after in his life. Although they saved this man's life and he agrees with the immediate threat they are in, he still has the audacity to tell the Hokage that after everything has settled, he will continue his investigation. This clown just got his ass saved by Boruto and he still wants to press charges. But this is what makes things interesting once again, because if Boruto's choice to save Kobu doesn't come with consequences like Kashin Koji said it would, then his stance wouldn't make sense, right? Why would he be so against it by looking into the future? Boruto always refuses to let anyone die, even someone who could politically destroy him, but that can be also seen as naive. Ao once warned him that being too soft in the world like this, it would eventually cost him, and Kobu is already doubling down on the friction between Konoha and the Land of Fire, which would cause a civil war. This was foreshadowed earlier when Kawaki asks Boruto, why doesn't he just tell everyone the truth in the village about what's happening? But Boruto admitted that people would misinterpret it, they would panic, and conflict would break out. But chapter 31, it basically reinforces that fear. When Boruto asks Koji whether he knew Kobu would be rescued, Koji admits that saving him was one possible outcome, but it's not the preferable one, and he still wants him to die, because in Koji's view, Kobu needs to die. His continued existence could shape the future in a catastrophic way. And people, when you think about the destroyed Konoha we saw in the flash forward, it could be because of this guy causing a civil war. However, in the meantime, Shikamaru coordinates their next move. Inojin confirms Mamushi has multiplied easily over 200. Koji warned them if the clones go past 30, it would be too hard to deal with. And since there are so many of them, they literally must have maybe one single brain cell. However, the things get worse once again. Every team is getting tired dealing with him, so Mamushi will win through a battle of attrition. So Shikamaru decides it's time to resort to their final plan. plan. Use Ada as bait. By guiding all the clones to one spot, it will make it easier for our gang to take them all out in one fell swoop. But how can Mamushi kill Ada and it was shown to us as a possible future, ABD? Remember, Kashin Koji said that Himawari and Ada do indeed die. I mean, Daemon is protecting her as the strongest and he has the reflection ability which is busted. Well, since Daemon's ability reflects attacks based on killing intent, it activates when someone consciously means harm. However, if Mamushi's clones are operating with almost no thought or intent due to being so stupid by cloning so many times, their mindless swarm behavior could potentially interact differently with Daemon's reflection. That's why Ada can be defeated in the first place. Now, to enjoy more peak fiction, watch this video about Hell's Paradise where I break down the entire story of Gabimaru and you won't regret it.